Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another awesome Polytopia video. Now, I'm sure all of you here play Polytopia, otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video in the first place. So, I'm pretty sure all of you are aware of getting a bad spawn and how that feels like. So, here is a game that I played where I had a pretty bad spawn. So, I was playing as Bador, and my opponent Magoon was playing as Imperius. So this game was held at Polyjules, which is a competitive 1v1 server. So let's begin. So Magoon's the host, so they start with Magoon in their capital, classical Imperius stuff. I respond with the same move, upgrading my capital on the first turn. Magoon goes ahead and trains a warrior, so do I. So Magoon decides to go for the triple warrior strategy, getting triple warriors to get more exploration done. Gets climbing, very interesting. A lot of mountains here. Gets an explorer, which is really nice. Explorers with climbing usually explore more, so it's not a bad idea. Get forestry before capturing. And then I'll upgrade my capital. So just going for the economy. So next turn I can save up and get riding. So Magoon goes ahead, finds another 2 villages. Get riding and a rider. He gets population from that city. Goes ahead, enters both the villages, gets riding and a rider. 2 riders. So you go ahead, capture my third city. Going for an explorer to be able to, see other villages. I'm starting to see that my spawn isn't that good compared to Magoons, because in the Polyjules we share vision, so we can see each other, which is quite an interesting gameplay. So here we go. Magoon upgrades, gets roads, which is very nice. Go and get organization to be able to upgrade, because Bardor and Imperius both have terrain where fruit is kind of nice. So now I'm kind of forced to get climbing as well to be able to explore. So here we go. Magoon goes ahead, and instead of going for this village, he goes for this village, trying to cut me off, get more villages quicker. Very nice. And he goes ahead and upgrades his cities. So now all of his cities are at least level 1, level 2. So I get strategy from a ruin, which is not something I was hoping for. So I was forced to get climbing. And I get workshop. So now I can get that mountain ruin. Magoon is just completely winning here. He's got so much. Just look at this position. He's expanding in every single direction. Good is playing very well here. By turn 8, he's already got a border growth capital. Next turn he can get a giant. He upgrades his level 2 city to level 3 to be able to get resources and get a bunch more stars, and to be able to upgrade both level 1 cities. There you go. I just go ahead, upgrade my city, and I decide to try to ghost rush for this village, because remember, I do have vision on Magoon, so I can see what he sees and he can see what I see. So I see this village and I'm really wanting to go for it because if I can get it, so I sacrificed getting this village a turn later. Oh, all right. So here we go. Magun decides to upgrade his left city to level 3, only losing 1 star. Now always upgrade your level 2 cities if you can. Upgrade another level 2 city, just getting his economy well. So here we go, he gets a giant and is now able to get another monument. So now he's stalling, he's seeing that I could try to get the village, but he's not letting me with those riders. He goes ahead and connects up this city and upgrades it. He goes for an explorer to be able to get all the vision. I don't know why he should have got on the explorer, but oh well. So here we go, I get roads. So now I'm able to get a giant just by connecting cities. Capture the city. And here we go. So I also get my giant on the same turn. So even though my spawn is kind of bad, I only have 2 directions to go to, and I have way less cities than Magoon. He's got 7 cities already. I have only got 5. Still able to somehow catch up with him. So here we go. So I don't go for the city because again I have his vision, he has mine, so I'll just go ahead and guard the village from being captured. So I'm not gonna let him have it. So here we go, I get riders, I need all those beefy units to be able to go ahead and try and get the village. So here we go, he's going for the other city. But Magoon gets a little too impatient, which is a pretty major mistake. Because, and here, he maybe could have gotten the village. Maybe if he put this rider onto this fruit, he could have probably gotten the village. But he doesn't see, he just doesn't notice the fact that I have roads and I am able to take it back. So you see, he completely blunders, which is really unlucky. He gets a second giant. So he gets fishing as well. Fishing gives ideas to going naval and maybe trying to, not go for the sides, but just go for the center via naval. So he also goes ahead and upgrades his other city to go for border growth. If he gets forestry, this will be a bunch of nice giants. Here we go, I get this city. I get fishing. So I wrote my giant. Upgrade this city. So another giant so that I can attack on both sides. So it's not just one front that he has to fight, but 2. So here we go. He loses the village, sadly. So this was a very big mistake. So if he would have waited for the village, I would have had what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cities, and he probably would have gotten this village later. So 7 cities with me versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 7 versus 10. So this is pretty important. Sometimes the most logical moves that look obvious are actually really bad. So always good to have a second thought to make sure that it's the best move, because there's always tricks that can happen. There's always something that unexpected that may happen, and in this case, it just completely turned around the game, going from 10v7 to 9v8, which is just way better. So, a block with the rider, disallowing him from getting the village. Of course, he'll siege next turn, but I get protected. He gets sailing. He's 1 star short. He's getting his giants. And he upgrades. So I got both cities. Connect them up with roads. So here we go. And now it suddenly turns into a 9v8, and I'm suddenly doing really well. So now I got 3 cities in 1 turn. I don't need to go for an explorer because I can already have his vision, which is one downside of going for explorer in these types of situations. So here we go. I decide to, since he's gonna siege next turn, I'm gonna get a giant to just disallow him from sieging. No, very nice. So I'm gonna upgrade the 2 other cities now. I'm gonna start up by upgrading. So I also got fishing, by the way. Also ideas of sailing, because the only way he can win now is by going sailing. Because I got giants on both sides, so it's gonna be hard for him to do anything on the sides. So let's chop a bunch and upgrade the city to level 3, because it's always better to get level 3 cities instead of level 2. So there we go. So now, despite somehow just having a bad spawn, I'm in a completely winning position now. Or I guess it can still Magoon can still salvage this if he goes for naval and concentrates on naval, but his giants aren't going for naval, so he's not gonna be able to get a giant battleship soon. So we see Magoon getting 2 ports. He started to go into sailing. That can be really scary. If you see sailing and you're not the one going for naval, it's gonna be a problem. So I get mathematics from Ruin, which is really nice. I was really happy to see this. So go ahead, and now I'm able to start getting catapults. Also, this giant is going over here for protection. This is kind of a predicament move, because over here this tile is very important. It's very weak, so here it's gonna be a bunch of sieges maybe if Magoon goes for naval, full naval. So, it's kind of a predicament move. But despite despite me having a bunch of catapults and units on the sides, there's actually no threat whatsoever. Like, it's easy to deflect this threat because I have 1 giant. Magoon has what, 1? He can get another 2 over here, and he's got another one as a backup. And once this giant falls, there's just nothing. There's nothing I could do. Like, I have shields, but there's just it's gonna be very hard to push in both sides in both cases here. So it's kind of like it's an empty threat, I guess. But still, you should be a bit cautious of it. Like, this is the real threat over here. Lagoon gets forestry to start upgrading. But you know, I would have preferred navigation here for Magoon, but would have been a better move. But forestry is still very nice. To go Magoon yet again blunders one of his boats. He puts it next to a shoreline. So he upgrades, but he has no whaling. He's not even thinking about going full naval. So here we go. See this catapult? It's impossible to reach. So I'm just gonna. My plot here is trying not to go ahead and injure the catapult. So I get sailing, and now I'm able to, get a giant ship, and Magoon can't reach it. So I basically get a giant battleship next turn. But Magoon isn't really aware of that, or maybe he is, but he's trying to get his riders over here in front, trying to get the catapult, because the catapult can only shoot one, or so the logic. Here we go, he's just getting a bunch of boats. He's not going for navigation, trying to explore. He's just he's holding back right now. He's not being threatening. So it's not a good idea to not threaten your opponent ever. You should always try to go on the offensive as much as possible, because going defensive means that your opponent is the attacker, and so they're gonna be the ones that do damage, and they have nothing to worry about. I mean, who's gonna attack them if it's not you? That's very important, not to go defensive. So here we go. I'll prevent him from getting to the catapult. Oh yeah, that giant is just gonna be there the entire game. Just gonna be preventing from any annoying sieges from happening. So if Magoon tries to do anything here, I mean, I guess I could train some units, but that also works. So here we go. Reason I went here instead of onto the ruin is because it blocks the mining material, so he's not gonna be able to get a giant here, and giant push my giant out. So he just loses the city now. So here we go. The empty threat is now an actual threat because he gets navigation now. Going full sicko mode with the boats. But it's just so he just pretty much lost a free city. And so now the game is just turning around completely. So I mean it's over in a few turns, yeah. So it was just one mistake that seemed so logical, but it was a complete blunder. My opponent blundered. It was a few inaccuracies, a few not very smart moves, but otherwise, it was my opponent just going for this village without seeing my part of vision that I'm able to unsiege and that I have roads. So my opponent is indeed a very good opponent. I think they just kind of didn't see it. It happens. Everyone makes mistakes. So it's kind of unlucky. So always try to you know, see for anything your opponent can counter you with to, prevent it. Seeing if your opponent can do something scary. And that's exactly what happened in this game. He lost his city, and suddenly from a 10v7, from a completely winning position, turned into a losing one. So, just one mistake. So, thank you for watching. Hopefully, you learned something from this little game that I showed you where I didn't have the best spawn. So, this game was held at Polyjuice, like I said. So, it's a competitive server. If you want to check it out, I'll put the link in the description. And I'll also put the replay link if you want to have a look at anything that I missed or the end of the game. So, thank you for watching. See you next time.